Hello and welcome. It is Friday, the 13th, right? Everyone loves Friday the 13th. I think of Friday the 13th back, in March is what set all this course and everything that was going on. If you're a conspiracy theorist, that's what we think, right? But no, I am happy to be here. I'm trying to make sure my computer was acting a little funky. I'm making sure that Facebook is working. If you're on Facebook, say hi. Let me know. Make sure that it is working. Again, it was just a little funky this morning, so I'm trying to make sure that it was there. Oh, we have some that are on, so I'm going to assume that it's working. Okay, Judy Marsh, you're here. Good morning to you. How are you this morning? Hopefully you are doing well on this Friday. Little chilly outside, nothing crazy, but a little. So hopefully you're doing well. Zara, Mallory, good morning to you, and good morning to all the Villa family is what she's saying. I know we'll have some more jump on here in just a second. It is Friday, so it's going to be a good Friday. I can tell that because I already had a decent sized cup of coffee. I am already on to my next drink, and so we're gonna have a good morning. I'm gonna get back out to the shop here in just a little bit, and for those of you that talk about woodworking and things of that nature, I've spoken about it can be dangerous. You've seen pictures. I have a hard time keeping my fingers out of the way of things. So like this here, I was working with some chisels and doing some work, and I hit the board. The chisel didn't hit my finger. I'm learning not to do that. Shout out to Chris Ward for teaching me not to do that. But the wood still got me. And then last night, hard to see, but kind of jacked up a little bit there. But it's okay. Hopefully you don't get squeamish. I mean, it's not bad. I can still use it. I just gotta get a Band-Aid on. And I did clean it. Like this morning already, so it's okay. But yeah, so my fingers start hurting after a while. It helps me not type. So Judy Mars says you're doing well. I am glad to hear that. This weekend, for those of you that may not know, the church is doing an outdoor only cleanup, doing some work outdoors, trying to get some stuff done there. Trimming, a lot of trees getting trimmed, a lot of weeds getting cut down, things that are growing in the fence lines and things of that nature. So if you are available and you want to do some of that stuff, you're more than welcome to. I'm gonna have a dumpster ready to go and everything like that. So we should be good to go to clean up the area. We'll maybe do some painting if it gets warm enough. It needs to get above 50, I think, to really do the paint. So we might have to wait for a little while on that. We're supposed to have a really good weekend the week after too. So if this weekend doesn't work, we might push that to next weekend. But I'll let you know. We haven't talked a whole lot about it. It's not something that we need like the entire church showing up to. But if you're available and you want to do some stuff outside, maybe even for just a little bit of time, swing by and you can do that. I want to make sure. All right. So this morning, I do want to talk about something that I think is very important. For those of you following along with news and updates and things of that nature, there's a lot of things that are going to be happening for coronavirus here in the next few weeks, right? So schools are getting ready to go back on a lockdown. Some of the aspects of social life is coming back down a little bit. There's some more restrictions on some of those things, and that can be rough for some people. And so the verse today, again, I'm not lying. I'm gonna read the verse that I'm supposed to, right here. Hebrews 3 is what it says. I think is very timely. Again, and I love when this happens, but I think it's very timely. This is what Hebrews 3, verse 12 says. Take care, brothers, lest there be in any of you an evil, unbelieving heart, leading you to fall away from the living God. Let me read this again. Take care, brothers or sisters, lest there be in any of you an evil, unbelieving heart leading you to fall away from the living God. I think sometimes we are not aware that we are allowing an unbelieving heart to creep into our lives. And what do I mean by an unbelieving heart is not being able to look at God's word, being able to look at the promises, being able to look at the things that are being guaranteed, looking at things that are going to be promised, looking at the things that are going to be offered to us or are being offered to us, and not taking hold. If your best friend, this is the example that was used in the thing, and I want to bring it. If your best friend walked up to you and said, or just any friend really, it doesn't have to be your best friend, but any friend walked up to you and said, I just don't believe you. I can't trust anything you say. I don't want anything that, I'm not going to act out on anything that you recommend because I just don't trust you. I don't have any faith in what you say and what you are announcing, so I'm not gonna adhere or listen to anything that you say. If your friend said that, or a person said that, you would no longer have a friendship, right? Until that situation was resolved. Until that person therefore could start trusting the things that you say, could start acting out on the things that you say. You would not be able to be a friend. You couldn't grow that relationship no longer. If anything, it would just be completely broken. But at best case scenario, it would be stopped. And you would not be able to go any further until that was addressed. The reason that they could not trust you, there's got to be a thing there that's starting them to say that, causing them to say that. So you would have this issue. And I don't think many Christians go to God and say that. And there are some, but there's not a lot of people that go to God and say, listen, I just don't trust you, God. I can't base my life on anything that you say because I just don't have faith in it. I don't have faith that we can have peace. I don't have faith that we don't have to fear. I don't have faith. I don't trust that. We don't say those things. But yet we act that way. We live our life that way. And the hard part is, I think that what happens is it's a slow process that gets there sometimes. There are things that happen in our lives that cause us to have that unbelieving heart. And that's why the verse says, take care, brothers and sisters. Take care. Be cautious. Be alert. Be on guard that this doesn't happen. Because it does. It happens a lot. The little things pile up. Maybe it's just something. Maybe it's a person that calls themselves a Christian and they act a certain way against you. And that starts affecting you. And then you start judging other Christians and you start looking at everything else that's going on. Or maybe a Christian didn't even say anything. Maybe just a Christian acts a certain way. You perceive that they think a certain thing. And then you start getting affected by that. You start unbelieving. You start having a concept of no faith in God. Because God, if you are real, this wouldn't happen. God, if your promises were true, this wouldn't be so hard. And I think we allow those things to come into our lives, and then before we know it, we have an unbelieving heart. And I do agree, and I love that it calls it an evil, unbelieving heart. Because it takes us away from a relationship with God. If we don't believe in His promises, if we don't believe in His truths, well, then we can't have a relationship with Him. And whatever's causing us to not have a relationship with God is definitely evil. And so, when we see a verse like this, I want to take it to heart. I don't want to try to think of anybody else. I don't want you to try to think of anybody else. I don't want you to try to put other people in that are saying, wow, this person has an unbelieving heart. I want you to think of yourself, what What is allowing you to have an unbelieving heart? Or in what ways are you acting out an unbelieving heart? You may sit in a conversation and be like, yeah, I trust God, but then you live it out differently. And I would give you the same warning that the writer here of Hebrews does. Take care. Be careful. Be cautious that unbelieving heart doesn't become evil and make you stray away from God. That's what it says at the end of the verse, leading you to fall away from the living God. You cannot have an unbelieving heart and have a good relationship with God. You might find yourself right now in a season of life where you are, you're struggling. Life is just not going the way you want it to go. Things are not working the way you think they should work. It is super hard. It is super depressing. It is super, just everything. Everything just seems compounded. You're alone. You feel isolated. You don't have the hope and the joy that you usually have. And I understand. I know a lot of people that are there. I do. And I'm afraid that some of those are going to fall away from God because of it. They're not going to stay. Now, I also think that I could get there. I said I want to focus on ourselves first. But I don't want to be there. I don't want to lose sight of. I don't want to complain so much of things going on in the world or look at all the bad. There's always bad. There's always things that are wrong. There's always things that are challenged. I don't want to allow myself to get there so that I stray away from God. Because I can look at all the negatives and I can look at all the things that need to improve. I can look at all the things that need to change. And yeah, I want to fix some of those things. And I think we should. But I don't want to focus so much on the negatives that I stray away from God. And I don't want you to either. I want you to take care. Zara said, and I'm going to share it here. Zara mentioned that we don't always trust God to take care of us. And I believe that sometimes. We don't. We think we need to do something. We think we need to change. We think we need to fix but we don't believe in God. We don't have faith in Him. And that will lead us to an unbelieving heart, and we will turn away from the living God. Now, I want to end kind of with this comment, is that I think first and foremost, when we look at this verse, we should be thinking about ourselves. We should be making sure we are taking care. We are being cautious. We are paying attention to make sure that we do not fall away from God, that we do not allow things to take us away from God. But in verse 13, it says, exhort one another every day, as long as it is called today, that none of you may be hardened by the deceitfulness of sin. Exhort one another every day. And so I challenge you. I got weirdos out here trying to mess with me. But he says, I exhort you every day to tell people and encourage one another. And so I would challenge you today, this weekend, right? Some people, they're not having a great weekend. And I would just say, look, take this weekend, take today, take tomorrow, take Sunday. Reach out to some people. Write them a card, send them a text, write them an email, do something. Go visit them. I don't care. Find a way to exhort one another so that we do not fall into unbelief. So that we do not fall. One another as a family, encourage one another. If you knew a family member was suffering, you would send out some encouragement, hopefully. You have some family members at church. You have some family members around you that are struggling and that could struggle. And maybe they're not struggling yet, but they might be soon. And I would say exhort them every day. As long as it is called today, it says. As long as you have breath, exhort one another so that none of you may be hardened, so that none of us may have an evil, unbelieving heart leading us to falling away from the living God. So that would be my challenge to you today, is to do that. Encourage one another. And for yourself, do everything that you can to not have an evil, unbelieving heart. I know it's Friday, so tomorrow we won't do a devotion, but we will be here on Sunday at 11 for a service indoors. Next week, we start our Operation Christmas Child, and in the mix of that, I think that we're going to try to do some announcements and things of that nature about what we're going to try to do for Christmas if we can. We've got to wait to figure out the logistics and figure out what the restrictions and stuff are going to be, but I'm going to tell you what, I and RT and the staff here at Villa, I'm not alone. We are all on the same page here. We are going to do anything and everything that we can, short of sin, right? That's our goal. Everything that we can to make sure that this holiday season, we not only exemplify or show you the hope that we have in Christ, but that we also meet you. Because I know there's some people that are suffering. I know there's some people that are struggling. So we're going to come up with some ideas. I don't know what they are yet. We've got some ideas. We've got to look. And again, logistics and restrictions and all those things in place. But I promise you, your church staff, your family here is going to do everything that they can. So I say that to say, if you have an idea, reach out to me. I love taking ideas. We can't always do everything that we get given, but I know that there's some idea people out there, and if you have an idea of something that you would love to see our church do, we would love you to see your family do. Maybe you want to be a part of it. Maybe you know of a way we could serve you. Let us know. I would love to hear it, and I really, really would. You could message me on Facebook. You can email me. You can call me. Any way you want to do it, let me know, because I'm excited to get into this season. I don't want to skip over Thanksgiving. I am super thankful. We have a lot of things to be thankful for. But if there's a way we could serve you to give you some hope and encouragement this Christmas season, let me know. I love you guys, and I will see you back here Monday at 10, and I'll hopefully see you at church at 11. Talk to you later, guys. Bye.